What's up, everyone? Happy New Year to y'all. A lot of blessings. Let's go out there and accomplish all of our goals, right? So, let's dive right into this topic. Lamarcus Aldridge. So, you guys know him. Former star, was amazing with the Blazers, was pretty good with the Spurs as well. Never won a championship, but was still a fucking problem on the court, in my opinion, with that smooth-ass mid-range jump shot that he was shooting from so high. And as he said, he only had 3 moves, but he has 20,000 points. So he was out there for real, right? He was on all of the smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. And he had a great interview all around, but there was one point that I wanted to discuss from the interview, and it was the quote-unquote European, or we're going to call it the foreign takeover, with the game changing so much that now, according to Lamarcus Aldridge, it is now more tailored to foreigners than us. And when he says us, I'm not American, but when he says us, obviously American players, right? So take a listen to what he had to say, and then we're going to come back and react to it.
It just don't feel the same. I want to ask y'all, do y'all feel like next 10 years the league's going to transition to more like European players than American players?
Well, they're already doing that
Because the game done changed so much where it's more tailored to them now than us.
It's not. It's tailored to them, but the motherfuckers just better than our players, bro. Yeah. It's just they
more
just
skilled,
better,
smarter, read the game.
They coming over here and dominate. As soon as they get it, they just better.
Luka make it look too easy, bro. I went to the game in Dallas where he was hitting the jump hook 3 for like, bro. It's just too easy.
They just better, bro. For some reason, they just better.
Yeah.
Who's the best player in the world to you right now?
I gotta say, Jokic, because I mean he just won. And
All right, so y'all heard the man, right? And this is interesting in my opinion because arguably all top fives, in my opinion, should have 3 names or 4 names in it, which are Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, and Luka Doncic. In my opinion, these guys are top 5 easily. And there's a great case to be made that for the last 3 to 4 years, the top 3 players in the league have been Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid again. So all 3 are foreigners. All 3. I know Joel Embiid now, he will play for Team USA, but come on now. He wasn't taught basketball in the US. He come from Cameroon. So why is that? Is the game actually more tailored to them than to the American players now? So let's talk about the differences in the game in this era, from this era compared to the others first. So obviously this is a less physical era. In which the rest will call anything. Very hard falls will get you thrown out real quick. You'll get fined, everything. There is also a lot of decrease of trash talking, and taunting will actually get you attacked, especially if the rest catches you. You might get thrown out. We've seen many instances of that, and in my opinion, this is very soft. Why am I mentioning this? Because in the past, the American players would use trash talking to pretty much punk a lot of foreigners. That would happen a lot, or at least get into their head and make a mark. And now they can't do that anymore, and that kind of takes away from that mental edge that American players could have over foreigners. One case of this, for example, that I remember vividly was what KG and Kendrick Perkins would do to Paul Gasol, who was amazing, but when he faced them for the first time in the finals, they pretty much took him away. They didn't make him a non-factor because it was great still, but they really affected him all through trash talking and physical quality. You can't do that anymore. Like, you can't try that with Luka. You can't try that with Jokic. That wouldn't fly in my opinion, but still, this needs to be mentioned. There is also the death of the defensive specialist that we would have in the league before would just get playing time just to guard and be a problem. So obviously that enhances the advantage that the offense has over the defense. There is obviously more emphasis on shooting, especially since the arrival of the Golden State Warriors, etc. Faster pace, and there is less play calls. So these are the main differences in this era compared to the others, in my opinion. So let's look at the top players, which are, again, Luka, Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic. And let's see, according to these categories, in what ways is the game actually more tailored to them than to the American players. So the first point that I brought up was that this era is less physical. Does that actually help these guys? Because when I look at these four guys in particular, unlike any popular opinion, if you really look at it, these guys are actually some of the strongest basketball players that we have in this league. They are at their position. Luka, which is 6'6", he's very big. He does not look athletic, but if you look at the way he's posting up players, moving people out of the way when he's driving and everything, he's stronger than most of the guards. So that actually, it would be good with physicality. He's actually using it to his advantage. For Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid, I don't even need to tell you guys that these guys are probably the strongest players out there at their respective positions. When you see the way Nikola Jokic is manhandling people in the post, moving people out of the way to get rebounds, you'll see that he's dominating with strength. Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's pretty much his whole thing. And Joel Embiid, although he has a lot of finish to get to the jump line, he flops a lot. Still, when he actually decides to use his strength, can't nobody stop him. So the physical quality, I don't think it's something that gives them an edge on anything. It's part of their skill set. Second point that I brought up was the decrease of trash talking. Other than Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who don't really trash talk like that, because why would you trash talk these guys? They haven't shown any weakness mentally, and they're not to be tried. Joel Embiid in the past was a big trash talker, and Luka is a big trash talker too. So I don't think that would actually get in their heads, the trash talking. They would be good with that. The depth of the defensive specialist, that might be able to help. That would have been something that would have maybe gotten in the way of some of these guys. Because if you look especially at the big man right now, there aren't any real big men that a guy like Joel Embiid would have to worry about on a night in and night out basis like that. I feel like on that list he has to worry about, for whatever reason, Al Horford, because it seems like the guy has his number. Brook Lopez can play some defense. Bam Adebayo, and that's about it. Because we've seen him go up against Cat and Rudy Gobert about a week ago, and he hung 50 on these guys. You know, the same can be said about Nikola Jokic. There isn't really a center out there other than maybe Joel Embiid and Bam Adebayo who can guard him like that. For Giannis, all of the fours are just way too small for him, you know. So, yeah, this is not really an advantage for the foreign players per se. They're just better when we look at that. The emphasis on shooting. How does that help the foreign players? I would say that definitely gives a foreigner the edge, because the average foreigner player, I would say, is a better jump shooter. Just because he's not as athletic as the American player, he has to really much develop that skill set. Now, we all know that the best shooters in the world are still American players. You got guys like Steph, like Clay, like Dame Lillard, and we can keep going, right? But again, if you go to Europe and you see the way these guys can shoot the basketball, and we've seen that in the World Cup, man, you leave these guys open, man, it's cash in the bank every single time. So the emphasis on shooting works. The faster pace, does that help foreign players? I wouldn't say so. I don't think it puts them at disadvantage, but does that help them per se? I don't think so. But the last point that I brought up, which was the fact that now in this era, they barely call plays anymore. It's pretty much a lot of, high pick and roll, everyone spaces out the floor, and then we play off basketball principles. That is a big edge for the foreign players, just because the way they are taught the game, it's way more, they're gonna come out with a better overall basketball IQ than the average American player. If you don't believe me, ask Kobe Bryant. He would start the game in Italy, and he said the same thing. They play as a team. The principles over there are on point. Again, we've seen that in the World Cup, in which the American player would just go out there and play ISO all the time against European players who were just way smarter than them, and this is why they were able to keep up and beat them, just off of IQ. So when you take a foreign player with superior skill or skill on par with those of the Americans in guys like Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you give them, and you put them in a situation in which they have to think they will do better than the average American player. And you can see the way they manipulate the game in their ways, which is by taking advantage of mismatches like a guy for Luka, getting to the line for a guy like Joel Embiid, passing the rock for a guy like Nikola Jokic and everything. You can see that they just dominate and they're smarter. So yeah, this is definitely an advantage. Now, can all of these points that are brought up be made for all of the foreign players per se? I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, we've seen a lot of super skilled foreign players, because myself, I'm from Europe, right? So I've seen guys who dominate in Europe and then come to the NBA, it don't amount to nothing. A guy like Ricky Rubio, for example, that all of you guys know, every time he plays for Spain, he's just killing. He's just killing. The game is different against foreign players just because you have to have a certain threshold of athleticism to do well in the NBA. If you do not have that, unless you're like a basketball genius like a Manu Ginobili or something, there's a ceiling on what you can actually do. But if you reach that level of physicality, just like the four guys I named in Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, and Luka, if you have that level of athleticism and you come from abroad and you brought in the game with better principles, maybe better skill sets, oh yeah, we're going to dominate. So in the future, do I expect to see more foreign players be upheld in the top 10, top 50, top 20 players? Absolutely. But is the league in danger? Because that was the question that Mark Barnes and Stack asked to Lamarcus Aldridge. Is the league in danger, quote unquote, of losing its dominance over foreign players? I don't think so, because again, we don't have the same type of athletes in Europe that you guys have in the US. So this is the end of the video. If you made it this far, first of all, I appreciate you. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm coming back with daily content, but more importantly, get in that comment section and give me your thoughts, man. Is the league in danger? Is the American player in danger of losing his dominance in the NBA over the foreign player? Let's talk about it in the comment section. It's been your boy. Appreciate you guys for checking me out. See you guys later. Peace.